World Champion Vectro 666. Finally. Well, 5 lights, and we're underway, and well, there goes the grid, and they're gone. Something has gone horribly wrong.
Up the inside of Hiker, nice move there. Hiker noticed him and gave the space.
And away we go, and it's a very good start from Rip It Up. Look at him, right down the middle. Vectro also getting away very well there. Sig up the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Yes, he is. No, he's not.
Almost made contact.
Almost made contact there.
Get through. I think they've all got through.
Everyone has got through there. Rip It Up going a bit slowly on the inside there. Solid Salita losing the back end, but keeps it.
See down the inside. That's going to be a easy move if he does get anywhere. But again, Furia breaks very late. Oh.
Here as these two battle away. Skulls going around the outside later on the brakes. Harry Potter taking the inside line. He's still there. Harry Potter's gone wide. Skull diving all over the place on the track. He's got to be careful of Boston Road. Boston Road's caught right up. Boston Road's going up the inside. Skull's just noticed him. They're side by side, almost.
He's looking around the outside into the last corner, into the clock curve. That's brave. That's very brave.
Do you think this one's Hector? Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, he tried that inside! And he got to move this time! He's alongside! And trying! And hurry! And hurry! And hurry! And hurry! And he's trying to the outside. Is Ethan going to give him that? He's going to brake late. Can Andre try a cutback? No, not yet. He'll be brave to go on the lead. Looking for the lead. Vectro takes the lead. Here. And now red timesing. And hits him. Does almost hit him.
I thought he was going to then, but he moved. I think he moved over.
Inside goes DJ. Does he make the move? No, he backs out of it. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he definitely doesn't. Well, down the inside goes Mateo. There we go. Back down the inside. Have that one, Sunshine. Now he's going to go around the inside again, isn't he? If he goes down the inside again, I'll be bonkered. Nah, you can't. That's going to end the contact. There's Sunshine, and then to backs out of it. Oh, he runs wide. Oh, he's going to go down the inside. That's Alonso. There was Alonso got Massa. Oh, that's Ferrari around this corner. Here we are then for the Belgium Grand Prix. 5 lights. Go! And Barry gets a fantastic start. Ethan left trolling behind there. And further back, Ethan already going defensive at turn 1. Down the inside comes one of the BMWs now. And
Good evening everybody and welcome to the Sakitto GP, the 14th round of the GAVRA GT3 Championship today. Unfortunately our main commentator is not around today, so no grunting tortas today, just me, Hayo. Unfortunately I'm not a commentator, not used to that, but I will do and try my best. Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting race today, as we have some new drivers in the GT3 Championship. De Schmidt, who was competing last time, and he got a penalty, therefore he has to sit in the pits. Also Vectro got a penalty, therefore he is sitting in the pits. But we got a very fast driver, actually, from GT4. He's competing this season, or the second part of the season. Now he is doing the GT3 Championship, Interceptor. He seems to be quite promising today, pace-wise, to compete with the Ferrari B guys of Cashnet and Ferrari. Here we have Cashnet and the Audi. The Audi is quite good on this track. If you look up the leaderboards of the PC time trials, Ferrari also for the Ferrari B team in the Audi, and they are just starting their first laps. Hybrid, of course, as usual, in the Porsche. And then we have Interceptor, we already talked about. Husa 71 in the Nissan, as usual, and Mayo, the teammate of Hybrid, also in the Ferrari, of course. Phoenix for the ART team in the BMW. Ella Champs in the Porsche. Flip is also, no, he's actually in the Cadillac, if I'm right. no, also Nissan, Peters. FFS is also a Porsche driver, teammate of other champs. We have some very famous guests, not for driving, but for commentating actually. Maybe we should have switched places today. Evil Dragon, competing in the Lamborghini and replacing Matteo therefore, because Vector is also in the Lamborghini here. And we got some first times set by other champs and also Cashnet, of course. Got some more times. Interceptor is not on his pace already. Cashnet with a quite good 1:42 time. But I think we will see a few more drivers in this 1:42, and maybe even one driver or a few going below this mark. Yeah, Ferrelli is quite close now to his teammate, only so below than 1/10 of a second apart between these two. And we still got some guys not setting a time yet. For example, Flip Flip. I don't know if his time got invalidated. There's nothing shown in the in this feed down below, in the race feed. Yeah, he's just in the middle of the track, and I will just show up the map and also the telemetry, so you can watch these guys do what they do best, racing around in these GT3 cars. And I will just have a... oh, he's going wide there, maybe that invalidated his lap. I'll just have a look at Cashnet, who sets a new time, and it's a lot of improvement there. He's running out of fuel, I guess, in 9 liters. Yeah, that's some time to beat. So almost 1 second in front of Ferrelli, and 2.5 seconds to the rest of the field. He's quite declassing all the other guys at the moment. And Ferrelli was actually striking back, but not good enough. So 0.003 of a second between these two guys. I don't know if this holds to the end. Ferrelli has to maybe tweak something and then go back on track, try to get his tires warmed up. I guess he needs 2 laps for that, and then he can maybe try to have another shot at this time of Cashnet there, and trying to find these 0.003 of a second. I guess you somehow find that easily, but you also lose it quite easily again. I'm actually interested what Interceptor is doing, because he was showing quite good pace in practice session, but he's way behind now at the race session. Allo Champs also competing for the championship in GAVRA Racing, so it's quite important for him to show off some good pace today, and good qualifying is always good thing for the race, to get out of trouble in the first few laps, because if you are in the middle pack you quite easily get some damage to your car. Otherwise it's not that important, I guess. There are some overtake opportunities here on this track to get around slower drivers if you have a better race pace than qualifying pace, which is usually the case for Allo Champs. have a look how our commentator, or his main job, commentator, is doing in a race car. And he looks quite fine. He's in the middle pack, not competing with the top guys of the Ferrari B team, but who is. But setting quite good pace. They are actually quite close in the backfield, so from 6th to 10th place there's only it's only 6/10 of a second gap, and so we might see some nice race in the backfield, some nice battles throughout the race, because these guys have quite similar pace. Today is probably again a race for a 1-stop or 0-stop strategy. I think the fastest possibility is a 0-stop strategy, although we have accelerated tire wear. It's possible to pull off the 0 strategy because the fuel tank just holds it. But for maybe the mid-pack drivers that are not, they're scrubbing a bit more of the tires than the top guys usually do, it might be even better to take 1 stop to be safe again. And Evil Dragon is improving quite a lot in this section. So Interceptor is still in the 2nd sector, nothing going on here. Also 2nd sector on the pits. Coming to the 3rd sector, nothing going on here. Pirelli is trying to set a new lap. Maybe he can get this few thousandths of a second. No, he cannot. But I think with 3.2 liters or 3.0 liters now, he maybe has 1 lap in his tank to pull off some better time than last time. And if he gets some better time, he will most probably get his pole back. But Cashnet is obviously also trying to improve his time still. Flip is having some trouble around here. I think he invalidated his first few laps and now played it safe to get some lap. Oh, that's not that great. I think that's Evil Dragon. The Schmidt is out of pits. And Cashnet is trying to get a faster lap time. And he's not, but he's very close to his best lap already, and now he's in his last lap of this qualifying stint with 3.2 liters left. Maybe he can pull something off a bit better now with warmer tires. Interceptor got a bit in the front, but not that much, and Phoenix got disconnected apparently. That's a bummer, but maybe he's able to rejoin the race. And Interceptor is at the moment, yeah, a few tenths up to his own lap time, his own best lap time, taking this corner quite good without any braking. You don't need any braking here, and this is also full throttle corner. And he's improving quite a lot into 3rd place in front of Alochamps. So for the first race in GT3, at least I know of, I'm pretty sure, the first race in GT3 this season at least, or in Project Cars 2, it's quite good what he pulls off here today. And I think, no, Vector's still in pits, so I think Vector can leave pits at the 10-minute mark. That's a penalty for some race accident with Aaron, so Racy Real from last GP at Subo, and Cashnet improved his lap time again. So it's 1/10 now between Cashnet and Pirelli, and the two are going out again for some last 3 laps probably again. And we have quite some gaps between these top 2 guys and then the ones behind them. Flip is improving, but not on his pace. Usually he's the guy to set the places quite right behind the podium actually, so 4th place and stuff like that. I can just quickly show up the driver's leaderboard. So that's the driver's leaderboard at the moment. There's only 1 point between the top 2, between Pirelli and Cashnet, both from the same team, both driving the Audi. Behind them is Champs, so he is 33 points behind. That's a tiny bit more than 1 race win. So he has to hope for some of the Ferrari B guys to, not finishing a race actually, to get the chance to pull off maybe a championship win here in the GT3 class. Flip is also quite some margin behind Champs in 4th position, bit in front of Vectro. We will look at now because he's just coming out of pits and trying to do this one lap that should serve him to get some decent qualifying position, some decent position for the starting grid. And yeah, behind Victor there's iBridge, then Matteo. iBridge in the Ferrari, Matteo is in the Lamborghini, Mayo also in the Ferrari. Then we have Pete Bib, Husa, Playboy, Pollax, FFSU, who joined the championship late, so he's not up that high in the ranks yet, but he's doing quite some good job here in the GT3 class, also scoring quite high in the last races. Phoenix from the ART team also, Danger, then who resigned this championship, and Fanny Neddy, who joined but is not here today. So we are missing, I think, 2 drivers. Phoenix is not rejoined yet. I hope he does. And then we are missing Fanny Neddy, and I don't know who else we are missing at the moment, because we have some replacements and stuff. So yeah. And Vector didn't do any lap yet. I think he should be on, is it the out lap? Yeah, still, or maybe he's already on the counting lap. We will just have a brief look here. Note, there is a time actually, so 15 seconds behind. Probably that was his out lap. Maybe he was crossing the finish line while going through the pit box. That happens sometimes, especially for the host of the session, which is Vector at the moment. As the host of the session, you get the pit box at the first pit box actually, and then it's quite likely to cross the finish line in your out lap even. So he already did 1 qualifying lap, although he was on his out lap. Cashnet is in sector 1, also Pirelli, so they need some time to do that. Champs is trying also to maybe improve, because Flip actually, I missed that. Flip is doing quite good, and now in P4. He had some struggle before, but he sorted it out. That's nice to see. And also the Schmidt is doing quite well. The Schmidt is also served a penalty from the last race because he spun and hit Playboy. But now he's doing quite well in pace-wise. Last race he also had a very strong pace, to be honest, but not very stable throughout the race. He went to the grass quite often. He said he was driving without any assists, and he's doing the same today. Maybe he's not used to driving without assists yet. So he's a bit of a danger out there, maybe, but I hope he will solve his problems and get more and more stable with the upcoming races and even today, although we see already some shattered screen, as you can see in the cockpit view. So he had some crashes already in qualifying. And I missed Pirelli going over the line, but he actually didn't improve yet. Oh no, he was at the pits probably with 8.3 liters. That's South lap. And Interceptor still searching for some more time to gain. Yeah, LA Champs is already back in 6th position again, but it's very close to 4th position of Flip. So if he improves by just a tenth of a second, he will be 4th position with high chances to gain some very good result in the race. But apparently in this lap he is down already 7/10 of a second to his own best lap time, so that's not gonna work out this lap, and he is very low in fuel, so it's his last lap. Maybe he should go back to pits and then try to do another one, and actually it looks like he's doing that exactly right now. Maybe there's time to do another out lap and then a timed lap, and maybe even a second timed lap if he is fast enough, to gain maybe this half a tenth to the Schmidt and Flip. So Cashnet didn't improve. He's back in pits. I don't know if he will just do another lap in qualifying or just let it slip and set up his pit strategy and also the race setup, which might differ slightly from the qualifying setup, at least in terms of fuel. But he set the fuel load to 6 liters, so maybe he's going for one out lap and one timed lap. No. He's doing the 120 liter of fuel for the race. But let's go to the guys that are still on the track and trying to improve their times. Pirelli is in the third and Interceptor is in the first sector. Pirelli is coming to the second sector. The map is quite irritating with this crossing of the track. Track called Sakitto. Obviously it's Suzuka mutation. It's not quite Suzuka layout, but quite similar to it, except for the hairpin. Actually, if you go below the bridge, you just go to the left and not to the right and then doing the hairpin. That's the main difference between these two tracks. The real Suzuka and the Sakitto. They didn't get the real Suzuka because Suzuka are actually asking for quite a lot of money to get a licensed version of their track. So if you want to race in Suzuka, you have to, or the real Suzuka, you have to, yeah, do it in GT Sport, for example. So the guys are all trying to improve still. So you see a lot of guys out. Also Vector did quite some good laps already, and is now only 2.3 seconds behind the leaders. Maybe he will still improve, as he didn't get that much practice now in qualifying. Not that much time to do a good lap, and I don't know if this right now cancelled his lap because he was really on the edge of being outside of the track. But maybe he still hold it on the line. Cannot tell that exactly, because also in the stream you don't see the perfect position of the cars, because there's always some ping behind drivers, and therefore some slight difference between actual car position of the driver and showed in the stream. So probably Cashnut can hold this. He's now doing race preparation with a quite full tank, and Pirelli just gave up to beat the lap time of Cashnut, and is now also setting up the car for race conditions. Interceptor is still doing qualifying laps with quite a low amount of fuel in his tank. Flip is doing the same because it's quite close of all these guys here between the 4th place and the 7th place of Vector, so 4 cars within quite a small margin, and Aller Champs actually improved his time over the Schmidt again, so he's now in 5th position and maybe has one lap to go still to increase his time and yeah, maybe gain one additional rank up the ladder, but that's not gonna work now as he goes off track, and that will invalidate his lap, so it's over for him. iBridge also doesn't seem like doing anything, but Pete-Bib is still on the track and maybe trying to do some decent lap times. No, and he's also on the grass, so yeah, I think that's it. It's just Cashnut still doing his race preparation laps, but now he crossed the finish line. We have 1 minute to go in this qualifying session, but no cars on track anymore. Cashnut is now controlled by the AI. So we got our pole setter, which is Cashnut actually. Behind him it's Pirelli Junior, within 1/10 of a second, so quite close between these two Ferrari B guys, as always actually. Behind them on a podium finish in qualifying, it's Interceptor, his first race in the GAVRA GT3 this season, so he's quite good for a newcomer actually, or if you want to call him like that. He's quite an regular guy of GAVRA Racing for over the seasons, but new to this GT3 season. Flip is doing quite well in 4th place after some struggles before, and Aller Champs in P5 doing also quite well, getting in front of the Schmidt, what you will see right now. So that's the qualifying. We got some spread out field with the two Ferrari B guys and the Audis up front, pulling more than 1.5 seconds to the rest of the field. Then it's going to be closer here. There's some close gap between these guys, and in the back there's also, I think we can hope for some racing here for the last 3 guys here with quite equal pace. Sorry. Yeah, Evil Dragon in the chat is quite happy with his 8th place, and I think he can be. It's quite in the mid pack, right behind Vector. I don't know if these guys have any history of crashing into each other, probably in some fun driving, but I don't know if they have this in the race. But let's see if they do well into turn 1, and especially turn 2, which is so turn 1 is quite a fast corner coming up, and I will just put the map back. So turn 1 is quite a fast corner, then you brake, so you brake into turn 1, then again into turn 2, and that's the critical point, I guess, because you have different braking points there. You can brake a lot into turn 1 or very late into turn 1 and then just roll into turn 2, or you can do the opposite, going quite fast into turn 1 and then brake quite a lot until turn 2. It's different lines. They are you can actually really choose a line there. Sometimes it's better to get a good run into the corner, sometimes it's better to get a good run out of the corner. The straight after the corner is not that long, so it's not that important, so you can choose between lines. But now we are ready to let go here. There are the red lights and they are all on, and now waiting, and it's green lights, and the Ferrari B guys are pulling away quite well. I think Ferrari got a bit of a better start, taking the inside line. They are very close, but Ferrari backs off and Cashnet takes the lead, and it looks like actually a quite decent start without any crashes so far. They are now in a single file format, very nicely done, no problems at the start. And iBridge actually already got 1 place. Apart from that, I don't see that much difference to the starting grid. Maybe FFSU is a bit back, as we see some cones flying around. And there is no, actually it's not that much going on. They are really doing great in the first lap. No incidents, nothing to worry about. So all in the race, no damage done, no harm done. So they can all enjoy the first lap and then enjoy racing. They are still close up, although there is already a gap. Pulling away between Ferrari and Interceptor. Interceptor has flipped behind, and Vector is actually doing the overtake over the Schmidt. So nicely done. And in the back there's something going on between Evil Dragon and iBridge, and Evil Dragon got back his 8th position. He was so proud at the beginning of the race, so he got it back. And Vector is doing quite well. I see there something between iBridge and Evil Dragon, and iBridge took the inside. Evil Dragon got a bit outside of track limits, and now iBridge is still side by side with Evil Dragon, and now he pulls in front of him, gaining the position back. So nice racing between these two guys. And actually I missed Flip doing the overtake over Interceptor. So Flip is now in 3rd position, and Interceptor, as we lose the camera here, Interceptor has to fear. Whoa, okay. And Vector is defending against the Schmidt here, and also having Allochems right in front of him, so maybe he can even do a maneuver to overtake Allochems at some point, as the Schmidt goes to the inside but backs off, and Interceptor is around. I thought he was on a drift. I thought he might keep it, but it was not possible for him here, and now he is back into last position. Actually, that's quite unfortunate, because until that point no one got into big trouble, so he's now in last position and has to fight his way back up again. And Vector overtook Allochems, and the Schmidt looks like he wants to do the same. It's quite good racing in this first laps. So the Schmidt is not close enough yet to do it, but still close. And I think we have some battle between Ibridge and Evil Dragon. Or Ibridge and FFSU now at the moment. They are going side by side, some slight contact. Now FFSU has the inside and takes advantage of that, so he's up in front of Ibridge now. Yeah, good racing between those guys, and in the front, yeah, Vector is pulling a bit away from Alochamps, and Alochamps has to take his focus also to his rear view mirror, because the Schmidt is all over it. Let's see how that will evolve, as the Schmidt was doing some drifting here. I don't know if he maybe got some too high tire temperatures already in this opening laps, as he struggles for grip already. That's not a good sign, to be honest. Yeah, maybe without anyone in his back for you, Alochamps can focus a bit more on his lap times and get closer to Vector again. And Ferrari B is also creating some gap between them. So Cashnet is doing a bit better pace than Ferrari at the moment. Because sometimes these guys are really within 1 second all race long. Today, maybe Cashnet got a better pace. But you also have to wait if that will hold for the whole race, as the race is quite long and the tires are degrading to the end. So whoever can save their tires better might have an advantage at the end. I will just have a look at Interceptor. He's not doing well so far, so he is struggling. He's struggling to get past these guys and even fall back a bit. As we see something going on here, I think it's Vector. Vector had some problems. So Vector had some problems and lost quite a lot of positions. So he was in 4th position, now he's in 7th, so he lost 3 places. We didn't saw what happened there, and now he has Evil Dragon again right behind him. And the Schmidt is closing again to Alochamps after his small mistake. Yeah, the Schmidt is really giving it all. Don't know if this will serve him well for the whole distance of the race, but for now he's doing quite a good job. And he is in the slipstream of Alochamps, maybe not this lap, but, or not this, going into this first corner, but he's right at his back and just waiting for some opportunity, some small mistake, maybe some spinning wheels out of any corner, so of Alochamps, and then he takes advantage of it. I'm quite sure of that. And actually Ferrari is back at the back of Cashnet. Maybe Cashnet had some problems, maybe he went over the track limits slightly and had some slowdown penalty, or had to slow down slightly to avoid any penalty, and we didn't have any penalties yet. That's quite a good sign. But going back to this battle here, as this is quite intense also. Now this corner is quite tricky to get right. You should aim for the late apex there and get a good run to this long straight, or like slightly bended straight. And he's doing that. He is on the slipstream. Now this fast left-hander is coming up and he's still in the slipstream, and now he's side by side. On the outside though, so that's not easy get it done here, but Alochamps probably backed off a bit. Now is trying to regain the position, but the Schmidt is taking quite a defensive line here. I hope he won't switch lines into the braking, but no. Works quite well for him, so the Schmidt is now in 4th position. Alochamps is back into 5th position. Vectro got a bit better. I think there was some mistake by some driver. Average is way back. Already led by all the cars. He was standing to the side of the track. At some point I saw actually a Ferrari standing there. So I don't know what happened to him. And there's quite some pile-up of cars. So Interceptor is now trying to overtake all the cars, and he's starting with Husa, who just went off track. Bit too much pressure from behind probably for him there. And Interceptor just got the next guy into his focus to overtake. Let's just have a look from his view. So now we are going into this long right-hander, then there are 2 left-handers coming up. The first one is a bit slower, and Mayo already goes wide, so he will take the inside line here, which is not the fastest, to be honest, and he's struggling a bit with grip on the inside as he has to take care of Mayo on the outside. So actually that was a good move by Mayo there to take the outside line side by side to don't leave any room for Interceptor here. Just fakes to go to the inside, then takes the outside and is doing quite well there. Now on a long start-finish straight in the slipstream. Has he enough straight line speed? It doesn't seem so. He goes for the inside line here, waiting for some mistake, but Mayo keeps it quite well. So no opportunity here. And we see some battles coming up. Vectro is a bit in trouble here, and 4.6 seconds off his usual lap time. So that means he made some mistake, and Heel Dragon took advantage of it. Yeah, there are also a lot of dust and dirt already on the track, so from drivers going off the track at this position. And still no movement in this battle here. Interceptor still behind Mayo. Maybe he can get the run out of this turn this time, and no, he cannot. Bit of oversteer at the exit, and there goes your traction, there goes your acceleration, there goes your straight line speed. So, Evil Dragon is now again behind Vectro. Sorry that I missed that. And is probably trying to re-overtake. So these guys are really having a battle here, and Evil Dragon, wow. Giving it all sideways. Doing some rally techniques here on a on a race circuit here. But if it works well, why not? If your tires don't get busted by that. And Alochamps can get hold of the speed of the Schmidt, but not getting closer. But the Schmidt is actually closing in on Flip here. There's only, yeah, it's less than 2 seconds now. You already got some peak of Flip there. There he is. So these guys are closing in, so maybe we will see some nice battle. And I missed something important here. Cashnet is not doing well at this very moment, as he had some mistake, obviously, because he is over 7 seconds behind Ferrari at this very moment. He was in front, Ferrari was right at the back of him, and Cashnet usually doesn't do any mistakes, so as you can see his last lap was not that bad, so the mistake was already 1 lap ago. Maybe you saw it in the stream. And we only got one exclamation mark there at Alochamps, what means that he is within 1 second or 1.5 or whatever of the guy in front, which is the Schmidt. And they are really closing into flip-flip, so this might really get interesting here. As Ferrari is now doing his laps alone with 7 seconds to Cashnet. In the beginning of the race, Cashnet was setting a bit better lap times, so, and he's also doing right now with 4/10 of a second better, but that might be not enough. It might be enough to get quite close to the end, but let's see if he can keep that. And now the Schmidt is getting really close on flip-flip. He's already in the slipstream and gaining some speed by that. He's only 600ths away from his fastest lap time so far, so he's really on the limit right now. He's really doing well. Flip-flip got a bit wide there, not off track, but still a bit wide, and therefore the Schmidt is on the outside of this track. It worked well for him against Alochamps, but Flip-Flip is fighting a bit more than Alochamps before, so Flip-Flip just cuts him off quite nicely. It was not an unfair movement there, because he was in front of him and he just chose his line. Wow, the Schmidt is trying to go for the inside here. That's quite some attempt, and Alochamps is closing in because of that, because of these guys are battling it out quite hard, and Alochamps maybe be the lucky 3rd guy in this battle, and maybe there's some crash, maybe some mistake by then, and he can take advantage of that. I think he will just back off a bit and see what's happening in front at this very moment. As the Schmidt is really searching for this gap to take this 1 spot to the podium. Last race I think he got disconnected quite later in the second half of the race, being on 4th position if I recall correctly. So maybe he wants to do even better today and obviously not get disconnected. Again a long straight. Alochamps has some problem there. Probably slow down. No, the Schmidt is not close enough this time. So Flip-Flip is doing a very good job out of this last turn there, which is totally flat out. If you have some decent downforce setting and choose your line wisely. Sorry. So Alochamps fall a bit behind these guys, and maybe now has to fear the breath of Vector here, who's only 6 seconds behind Alochamps and doing quite well, unless he is fighting with Evil Dragon. These two guys are giving it all to each other. I don't even know if Vector is maybe waiting for Evil Dragon to have some battle with him again. But in the back, Interceptor is back to 8th position. He got the last spot after his spin in, I think, the second or third lap. So he's back in the race, and now trying to get some decent lap times in order to get close to Evil Dragon and Vector in the mid-pack. And I again missed some action on the race as Flip got overtaken by the Schmidt. And the Schmidt is really setting fast lap times, so Flip was not close enough to gain a big advantage of the slipstream here. And now he has to try to get close to the Schmidt for this lap through this very technical first sector here. And then maybe in the third sector, which is basically flat out with some lifting in the left-hander, to get the slipstream and get close again, but doesn't seem so. So the Schmidt is doing quite well and trying to get some distance between them as Evil Dragon is in the pits. No, he's actually retired. Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't know why. Did he get disconnected or what happened there? I don't know. But yeah, Vector lost his partner here, and I don't know why he braked there. Probably also got some slowdown. Wait, let me check just the penalties here. So the penalty of Vector is 5 seconds, which is quite a lot, and Evil Dragon got a 6-second penalty. And usually, if I'm correct, a 6-second penalty means that you have to do a drive-through penalty, and maybe he didn't want to do that. And Irish is again in the pits. He is having a hard time today. So Flip is trying to get close to the Schmidt, but is not achieving that much as of yet. And we lost one driver. Who was that? We lost Vector, apparently. Okay. So that's a bummer. Nico Sava in the chat recently cheered him with "Come on, Wack," but not anymore. He's out of the race. So the whole host of the session got disconnected from the race. That's not going well here. So we are down to 12 drivers, or actually 11 drivers, as Evil Dragon is just sitting in the pits. And Evil Dragon just messaged that. So Evil Dragon just messaged that he was disqualified for slowing down, apparently. Don't know what that means. And Racy is saying in the chat that you get disqualified once you got more than 5 seconds of penalties, so, or even 5 seconds of penalties. So that happened to Evil Dragon, and that also happened to Vector. So that's maybe the reason why these two guys are out of the race and got disqualified. So they did it a bit too much, used the track limits, or overused it, used the parts of the track which are not part of the track a bit too much, and therefore they got disqualified by now. which means for the other guys to gain some positions, and Albridge is now in 11th place. A few laps down, but still. So, and Husa is actually fighting for position with Mayo in front, so maybe he's not that eager to get this position. So to give this position to Albridge, a teammate of Mayo, to get in between these two. As Albridge wants to unlap him from Husa. Let's see how that will do. And Husa still not doing it, and we have something going on here between the Schmidt, as I just watched the chat, what Vectro and Evil Dragon are going to say about their disqualifications. So the Schmidt got overtaken by Flip Flip again, and this is going to get interesting here. Maybe another mistake from the Schmidt. They're really close here. And a bit going side by side. Now the Schmidt got the better line, obviously, the inside line, and does it quite well. So nice overtake there. Nice racing between these two guys. And our chances again quite close to them. So less than 2 seconds behind Flip Flip. So maybe he can again take a bit of advantage of that battle going on there for 3rd position. Oh, these guys are really giving it all. Sorry for a bit less commentating at the moment, because there's a lot going on in different chat rooms, talking about this race, talking about this disqualifications of Evil Dragon and Vectro, and also I have some news from Grunting Churches, from Finn, our usual commentator here of GT3. He got injured last night. He says it's not that bad, but yeah, it's. I hope he will get well soon. So he's obviously not able to do the commentary today. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate for him. It's a dislocated wrist. That's a bummer. I hope he will get well soon, and hopefully we'll also see him back or hear him back here at the GT3 race, and when he's yeah, well again. And we'll just have a brief look at the battle going on in the midfield between Interceptor and FFS, which is going on for quite some time, as FFS is really on his top pace at the moment, using a bit of slipstream of Interceptor here to get better lap times and maybe also get away with a position gain. No position gain here. Flip is still within this 1 second to the Schmidt. And Alo Champs is doing all to stay close to these guys. And to commentate a bit about the fight for first position, Cashnet had some mistake during the race and lost quite a few seconds while being in the lead, and Ferrari took advantage of that. At the moment, Cashnet is gaining again, but only slightly. So in the last 10 laps or so, he gained like 2 seconds to Ferrari, which will not be enough if he keeps it up until the end of the race. He will get quite close, but not close enough. But that might always change with tire degradation to the end of the race. But let's look back again to the actual battles going on the racetrack, as we are really close between these two guys, between FFS and Interceptor. Interceptor blocking him away slightly here, and he's a bit too much, there's a bit too much gap between these two guys for FFS to gain big advantage due to the slipstream and get really close. And yeah, the two guys of Evil Dragon and Vectro just left this lobby. And the lobby survived, even with this host migration progress going on. So that's nice. And we see some car at the side of the track, and that's Interceptor. So Interceptor is struggling a bit with this BMW. I didn't see it that good, but it looked like he again had some oversteering in this car. He has it quite a lot out of corners, so on the throttle he's oversteering, which is quite unusual for him because he's always setting his cars really nicely up. He's spending a lot of time to get this right setup, but today it was a bit too much. Bit too less traction on the rear wheels out of corners. We saw it happening quite a lot during this race, or what means quite a lot, now 3 times. So he's struggling. And these guys are not struggling, but they are giving it all. Very different lines through these corners here. This combination is really nice to drive. There's a lot of fun to go around these corners because you don't have any straights between them. It's quite, it's smooth and really rhythmic to get a decent line through these corners, and apparently they choose quite different lines through it. So we are now getting closer to the mid of the race, so half time of the race, and once we reach the half time we have to look out for maybe some pit stops going on, probably more in the backfield than in the front, as I think the front guys are trying to do a zero stop strategy today. We already saw some pit stops, for example by iBridge, but that was because of just some damage. Yeah, that can also always mix up the field a bit if guys decide to go for a pit stop. I don't actually know if the track conditions at the moment are better for the soft or the hard tires, but probably the hard tires are way better to get this done till the end of the race. So at the moment the Schmidt is doing quite well to pull off a gap to Flip, which is now 2 seconds. That means that Flip doesn't have any slipstream effect from the Schmidt at this very moment, and therefore the Swissman on the 3rd position pulls off a bit better lap times probably than Flip is doing, and last lap it was a bit more than 7/10 of a second. So with losing the slipstream, Flip is probably, it gets more and more difficult for him to keep up with this pace, and maybe other champs can get closer to Flip as a result of that. And we see that FFS has some penalty. So just have a brief look. It's 2 seconds, so it's not that much. But at the moment it's actually the gap behind your interceptor. We are mid-race, so final results are not even close to being important for that small penalty here. But Interceptor is trying to overtake FFS, and if he cannot do it or does some mistake, he's probably trying to get quite close till the end of the race to be within this 2-second gap, and therefore just gain the position by the penalty FFS got here. In the meantime, at the front is not much going on. Ferrari has just set his fastest lap time of this race with 1:42.5, which is really strong, but Cashnet is quite close to that. So what these guys are doing is actually, it's incredible, because they are just doing the speeds the other guys are doing during the qualifying, and they are doing it with 22 laps on the tires and 60 liters of fuel in the tank, which is really remarkable, and they are still being very close to their strongest lap times, very consistent here. Yeah, that's quite impressive. The Schmidt in 3rd position. Hello champs, overtook Flip. So Flip must have had some problem here. Some going off track, some slowdown, some spin, some whatever. But it cost him quite some time, and now Hello champs got the 4th position. Let's see if Flip can maybe do good lap times now and get closer to Hello champs, and they will have a fight at the end of the race. To the other guys it's quite a distance already. So 25 seconds, that's not gonna work out unless one of the drivers are doing a pit stop, but it doesn't look like they are doing that at the moment, as FFS is on his 22nd lap, so halftime is already reached and no one is going to pits. So everybody is going for the zero stop strategy apparently. Maybe the tire wear is not that big. Sometimes happens. I think it's so there were some rumors, at least for the Xbox version it was already confirmed, that the physics get slightly different also regarding the tire wear once the lobby is bigger than 12 people. Maybe that also is true to some amount for the PS4. I'm not sure of that, but drivers quite often, yeah, telling about some difference regarding the tire wear between their practice sessions before the race and the actual race lobby. And at the moment, the Schmidt, so his last lap time was a bit, yeah, slow compared to Alocham's, who is doing really well with a 1:45.0 in the last lap. So he's closing in on the Schmidt. I don't know if that's really consistent here or that the Schmidt did some minor mistake. But we will keep that in mind and have a closer look at this battle at some later point. Let's look at some drivers at the second half of the grid. Pete is doing quite well so far, in 8th position. Interceptor is in front of him, only like 9 seconds in front. Mayo is behind 10 seconds of him. Then Mayo got quite some decent gap to Husa behind him, because there's already 45 seconds between these two guys. And yeah, Husa is therefore a bit in the no man's land at the moment. He's doing quite well. He keeps his car together, and that's all which is required at the moment, because iBridge is way behind, so probably 2 laps. So Husa is trying to get just consistency into his laps, as he is a bit down here, so he struggles maybe. Interceptor got interesting race, quite good pace in practice session, then not as good as he used to be in practice session and the qualifying session, but still decent. And then he got to spin, fell back to the last place, had some struggle going up the field again. Now he is in the mid pack, then also got some troubles while fighting with FFS, and he remains to get problems because he's really not on his best pace. So if he continues to have these strugglings here with maybe spins or losing a lot of time, Pipip might actually get some claims about the 7th position here. But as promised, we will look back at this battle for 3rd position, which spread out quite a lot actually at the very moment. So from Alocham's view, we can see the gaps to the front, to the Schmidt, and to the back of Flip in the upper graphic here. Sorry. And Alocham is doing very well here. Just set his fastest lap times, if these graphics are correct. So he's gaining on the Schmidt. Maybe with lower fuel amount, maybe the tires got a decent degradation that they don't heat up that much again. I don't know, but he's doing quite well, and he's feeling quite well in this car apparently. In the middle of the race right now, maybe if he can keep up the speed, he might have a chance to finish on the podium today. Yeah, and Flip is having some struggles here. I don't know. He was really on the pace with the Schmidt for quite some laps, fighting back and forth. There's a lot of racing going on, side-by-side racing and overtakes between these two guys. But at the moment, he had one mistake and then fell back a bit. And now being alone without a slipstream, I don't know, maybe he's running a quite high downforce setup, therefore he needs the slipstream basically to keep up the speed. But at the moment it's not working for him. and Pirelli is just doing some overtakes. Who is this? That's FFS probably. Yeah, it is. So, bit of racing going on between these two guys, one lap apart. So Pirelli already overtook FFS, so only 4 drivers are within his lap at the moment. And we will probably see him overtaking also Flip, Allerchance, and maybe also the Schmidt. So these Ferrari B guys are really dominating the season at this moment. They had some troubles. Pirelli actually joined the championship in the 3rd race and doing quite well from that point on. He even took a race win after a drive-through penalty, so that's quite remarkable. And Cashnet is getting closer, so maybe Pirelli lost some time during the lapping of FFS here, and Pirelli and Cashnet got closer again. So with all these lapped cars, maybe Cashnet can take advantage of better lapping other cars and close this gap. So I think the race is not. The race is obviously not over for this first position here. Sorry. In the meantime, the race for 3rd position, for the last podium position, yeah, got a bit more stable at this very moment, as this Schmidt is pulling away from other champs now, having 6 seconds as a gap. But 6 seconds is still not enough if you have any mistake, any spin. So Elochamp still has a chance to get close to the Schmidt and fight for this 3rd position here. So regarding the fuel loads, as we know that Cashnet actually started with 120 liters of fuel, and he just started his 28th lap. He should be fine, I guess. It's going to be close. Let's just have a look also at other champs. He got a bit more, but I think these guys should do the trick with this amount of fuel. I will just calculate the amount of fuel they should have here at the end of this lap. So because he had the maximum amount of fuel in the beginning of the lap, in the beginning of the race, so you never know if it's actually enough for him or not. And that's something we might want to check out. So now Cashnet is reaching the end of the lap, lap 28. 28 is 2/3 of 42, so he has to have 1/3 of the fuel left. 1/3 would be 40 liters, and with 41.2, he's actually doing well with the fuel amount, and should go to the end of the race. And he's closing in. So it seems a bit like Pirelli is really struggling to lap other cars at the very moment, or the other cars just get aware when Pirelli is attempting to do it, and then just let Cashnet through directly because they just know that there are leaders coming up. So Cashman is closing in. He's now within 2 seconds here. And a bit more, a bit closer, and he might take advantage of the slipstream, and then he's back in the game immediately. At the back there's not much going on except for Interceptor having troubles and being now only less than or about 4 seconds in front of Pete Bip, which is still a gap, but it's decreasing over the last few laps. Apart from that, nothing is going on really, so we will just stay here with Pirelli. Maybe we will just go into the cockpit view to see one lap of the race leader at this very moment. There's one car being led, Ferrari. Yeah, doing quite well here in this first 2 corners. There's probably some small braking, not even lifting here. That's quite an interesting line. So he goes a bit wide here to the inside there, takes 2 apexes in this corner, and no curb here, no curb on the outside either. So taking a safe line here on the outside, of course, over the curb on the inside, slight touch to the curb on the outside, over the curb completely here on the inside, because that's actually really important here to get a good run out of this usually slow corner. But if you cut it like that, and you are allowed to do that, you get a good run off. Now this braking into this tricky corner here, you want to get wide here a bit and then take the late apex, what he does very nice here. Go a bit up on the curbs, he doesn't touch the curb here, but it's still very nice going out of this. And as you can see, he's not that much behind his fastest lap time. Bit of lifting here, no harm done. Goes on the outside, then cuts over this crest here a bit, very nicely. A bit unstable on the exit if the stream is right, and back on the start finish straight. Very good lap, very nice lap, and you can see the time here. He is only 1/100th of a second behind his fastest ever lap time in this race. So we chose a very good lap to have a ride with Pirelli here, very nicely. And there is something. No, it's actually not. No. Okay. So I thought that there's something going on here, because apparently they show the same difference to the leader, but actually they're still 2.5 seconds apart from each other. But that's not much, and it's really decreasing. So Pete Bip might get a run onto Interceptor here. I didn't expect that actually from the looks of the first sessions today. But it's nice to see. Nice to see that an experienced GT3 driver like Pete Bip can actually gain some advantage out of this experience in the late race here over Interceptor. Oh no! Ah, I thought I'm not. Oh. I'm feeling really sorry for Pete Bip right now. Yeah, that's actually commentator's curse. I didn't think I'm already cursing some guys, but apparently I do. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So now the gap is back to 10 seconds. That's sad here. So. And for the top 2 guys, the gap is a bit increasing with this very fast last lap by Pirelli, or also the next lap was quite well. as I see here. So Cashnet has to speed up a bit if he wants to take the race win today, and I am very, very sure that he wants to take this race win, because after that race we only have 2 races left in the GAVRA Championship. So we will go back from Japan, where we had the Sugo and Sakitto race today, back to the US and race at Watkins Glen the next week, so no break weeks coming up. And after that there is already the final race at the Circuit of the America. So Kota is coming up like last season. It's the season final, so that's quite promising. It's always a nice track to race on, also Watkins Glen. So I'm really looking forward to these last 2 races. And yeah, Cashnet is going well now again with a mid-42 time. It's still not over. Between these 2 guys it's still not over, but they are not that consistent as it seems at the moment, but it's a very technical track here at Sakitto, especially this first sector we are at the moment. But let's go through the standings at this moment. Pirelli in front, then Cashnet, as we just discussed, the Schmidt, new to this league, or like in his second race today, far better than last time. Last time he had some struggling, yeah, this time also, but he's doing very well pace-wise, and I think he gets used to this league system we are running here, and that helps him a lot, and therefore he is going for a podium today with 10 seconds to Elo Champs at the moment. Yeah, Elo Champs was maybe not at the pace in the first half of the Grand Prix here, but is actually really on top of his pace in the second half, and therefore he can pull off a gap to Flip behind. Yeah, Flip was really close to this 3rd position and got it for quite some time. But at the moment he's in 5th position, and it looks like he will stay at this position. Then behind him there's another Porsche driver of FFS who had some battle going on like 10 laps ago or so with Interceptor. And he won it because Interceptor spun, and till that point Interceptor got a bit of a problem and is at the moment in 7th position. He has some gap to Pete behind, because Pete, who was closing in before with like going close to like 3 or 4 seconds to Interceptor, spun out and now is a bit struggling probably, or maybe he's just playing it safe because he doesn't want to risk another spin, because Mayo is not that far behind. He's only 7 to 8 seconds behind Pete Bib, and therefore the battle for 8th and 9th position is still going on. Husa is really doing a race on his own at the moment, unless some drivers will have some problems, but we will go back to the front guys as the exclamation mark pops up here in the stream. And they are really close now, really closely together. Pirelli in front still, but Cashnet is now within 1 second, and that means he is in the slipstream. And in this 3rd sector you can gain quite a lot in this slipstream, and that's what Cashnet is doing right now, getting close. Then he has the whole lap to stay close or even get closer, and then maybe next lap he will be close enough to take an attempt for this 1st place. just short reminder to you, the Drivers' Championship, because Pirelli at the moment is leading, but only with 1 point. So I think with this being the third last race, it's really yeah, up for this last 3 races, who is going to win 2 of them, because at the moment it really seems like these 2 Ferrari guys are always taking 1-2, and if they continue to do that, it's really up to this last 3 races who's going to win this championship, because the guy who wins 2 of them is going to win the championship, and the guy who wins only 1 or even less is not going to win this championship but finish in 2nd position. And I think they are both eager to get this championship this season. They expected a bit more last season and couldn't do it, especially Cashnet was really struggling with the new game, with Project Cars 2, and now they are really on the top, and these 2 are the fastest guys in GAVRA Racing by far. And they are showing it each and every week here. And they are showing it now. So we don't have that much laps to go. So they are now in the 36th lap, the beginning of the 36th lap. So 7 laps to go. That's interesting. That's going to be interesting. And Cashnet is now really close. As as you can get to Pirelli, and Pirelli, I don't know if his tires are still okay or not, and this Nissan is doing very good choice of going out of the way of these 2 guys, because they have just eyes for each other at the moment. And let's just switch into the cockpit of Cashnet here, who is trying to get a good run out of this last turn here, or this turn here onto the long straight. He got a bit of side movement here, at least it was shown to us on the stream, but he is close. Some lifting, even some braking in this corner, and he is close. He is very close to Pirelli, and as you can see, they are not going flat out anymore. Probably they're struggling with tire wear, and also in the slipstream the downforce gets a bit less. And all the guys are really doing a great job of getting out of the way, and now there's a 2nd Ferrari showing up. Don't know what's happening. Pirelli is a bit backing off, probably because of that. He doesn't want to risk any damage at the moment. No, that's not a bit... Yeah, no harm done. But they lost a bit of time, but they don't care about any time losses here, because the 3rd position is already 1 minute behind them. They only care for each other, and Cashnet had to brake a bit because Pirelli in front didn't get the turn perfectly, and therefore the gap is increasing a bit at the moment. And he most probably wants to get close again now to gain the slipstream, but he is about 1 second behind here, so not that big effect, but probably also a bit better downforce into this very fast corners here. Nicely done. And he always gain, or seemed to gain a bit from this corner, and then here he struggles a bit more than Pirelli, but not that time. He also gets it quite nicely, uses all the width of the track. Yeah, that's the battle to watch at the moment. I just keep a bit looking at the times. The other guys are pushing, but pulling, but they are not on top. Here, Pirelli got a bit wide, and Cashnet is again very close due to that. So it's really, so every small mistake, and they don't do that much mistakes, but these tires are probably run down already quite a lot. So it's difficult to keep the perfect line here, and you have to choose a bit different driving, slightly different braking points and stuff like that throughout the race, because the tires are degrading, and therefore the grip gets less and less. I will just go out of the cockpit view for a few seconds, because that maybe gets boring for you to watch. I really like the cockpit view, to be honest, because you can really see what the driver is doing, and these guys are really doing yeah, quite a lot, quite well. So you can always learn from them if you watch them driving. So 4 laps to go. The fuel amount of Cashnet is alright, the fuel amount of Pirelli is alright. All others are fine also, except for Ibridge, who has only 4 liters left. So Ibridge, who is 10 minutes behind, has to go for a pit stop again. But I don't want to miss the final decision of this race between the two Ferrari B guys and the Audi. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that we don't see the tire wear, because that would be really interesting if there is any difference between these two guys. So only 3 laps to go, and they are still fighting for this top position. They do it quite a lot, and Pirelli is spot on in the first sector, but Cashnet is really getting the grab of his tail here, being in this 1 second margin, which means he gets the slipstream. And it seems like today that's a crucial point. Now into the 3rd sector, which is very much flat out, except for this bit here. And as you can see, Pirelli is not braking here. We saw Cashnet doing the braking, and I think I also would not brake there, just lift it, but Cashnet is braking, and actually he's doing a bit better in that corner than Pirelli, so maybe braking helps, as Pirelli is doing the fastest lap of the race, or the fastest lap of himself, and Cashin is also setting quite the same lap time. So they are both on the edge at the moment. Also different lines here. Cashin taking a bit of a closer line. Pirelli is trying to also close the line a bit before he went a bit wider. But that's probably because he doesn't want to leave Cashin any gap he can take advantage of and maybe put his car side to side to Pirelli, and that's not something Pirelli wants him to do at this very moment. Yeah, it's really interesting between these two guys as they are in the lap to the final lap. So last sector here, and then they will go into the final lap, and Cashinet is half a second behind. Now you can see that Cashinet does some braking here. It's quite interesting, but maybe it helps a bit getting more weight onto the front wheels and therefore get this corner a bit better as you get a bit more oversteer. So he couldn't do it into this good overtaking spot into turn 1. So he has one lap to go to take P1, but Pirelli is doing a great job at this very moment. He's not doing any mistake, leaving Cashinet any chance of taking this position. He's doing it very well, setting high pace, and he is up his own best time at the moment. But Cashinet is really closing him, so Cashinet knows if Pirelli wins this race, then Cashinet has to win both races in the US that are coming up, both at Watkins Glen and at Kota, and he doesn't want this stress on him. But it seems like Pirelli is doing well. Now one last fast bit in the third sector. Pirelli is in front and the gap is 400th of a second. If there is no mistake at the moment, and these guys rarely do mistakes, it's going to finish like that. Pirelli is doing the job and he wins this race today with a margin of 200ths of a second. So congratulations to Pirelli for this very impressive race win here. Congratulations also to Cashinet to very strong performance, a very strong performance to close up this gap, but he couldn't pull this overtake. So yeah, for a 1-2 finish again from the Ferrari B team. Let's just have a look at the podium finisher, or the most probably going to podium finisher. He's still in the second sector at the moment. Will be his first podium in GAVRA Racing because it's his second race and his first race finish actually, as some guy was going off track there. So some Ferrari gets lapped again, and the Schmidt is celebrating, flashing his lights, waving around. He seems to be quite happy with this third position, and he should be. With this Ferrari B guys, it was the best he can come up with, because no one can at the moment come close to their pace. And the race is finished, so we will see the final results. Ferrari driving not for North Korea but Great Britain. Cashnet also Great Britain. The Schmidt is actually Swiss. Other champs is a Swede, that's correct. Then the 3 Germans, that's also correct. Yeah, and then it seems like the nationalities are correct. But yeah, congratulations to Ferrari. Very strong performance in the last laps. Keeping it together, not leaving Cashnet any chance to gain this position. Now Ferrari is up in the, or he was up 1 point, but now he is up a bit more than that. So 1 race win more, and he has a very, very, very good chance of getting this championship. But and Cashnet should get the last 2 races winning if he wants to get this championship. Yeah, but he still can do it with without hoping for Ferrari to fail. So yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry that Finn, our main commentator, was not here today. I hope you still enjoyed the race. Let's hope we will see each other again at Watkins Glen next week. Should be an interesting race. Then hopefully again with a healthy Finn granting churches to do the main commentary. I will do the overlays again, maybe some replays, a bit better graphics. So sorry for that today. Hope you still enjoyed. See you next race. Good night.